This is Dolany TV, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening and welcome back to another edition of Edmonton Oilers discussion here on the channel. Hello. Hello. Alright, I felt that just needed to be done. Anyway, a lot of talk about Darnell Nurse lately on Dolany TV social media channels, whether it be YouTube, whether it be Twitter, whether it be out of my mouth at work. And the reason for that is because he's filling in the shoes of Oscar Klefbom. Well, all this while, we're waiting to hear word on what's happening, what he's going to do, and when he's going to be back. Well, today, Ken Holland got an update out to the media and kind of gave us realistic expectations as to how this process is going to go, and it's not too clear. But before we get to that, I want to just say, take the next 5-10 minutes if you're new to the channel, consider hitting that subscribe button and staying tuned, because we do have the Battle of Alberta coming up on Saturday, and we're going to have a whole lot of fun with that, I am sure. So you want to be around for that at least to check that out. If you want to unsubscribe after that, sure, go ahead, but you don't want to miss all the rest of the fun this season. Also, if you're returning to the channel, consider over the next 10 minutes hitting that like button as well for me if you could. Gets the video out there and helps people know this is an accurate representation of what they want. Now, Jason Gregor, like I said, on the money here. Oscar is planning on having surgery, and then I don't know what that's meant to say, but I guess we'll get through it. Can find out what the odds are of him coming back and what would the timeline be. It isn't just about the NHL giving us direction for the expansion draft, but also what the doctor says if he can play and how long rehab will be. That from Ken Holland. So now we're into February, right? The timetable all along has been Oscar will be ready for September. Now, clear statement is Ken Holland has not a clue when or if Oscar Klefbom will be back at all. And that's the interesting part here is, right, we want to get Oscar Klefbom back, but at the same rate, what we've learned over the past month or so is the fact that, more or less, hockey has kind of ruined Oscar Klefbom's life. He hasn't been able to enjoy his life, and that is absolutely unfortunate, that is for sure. So now it is tough to see what happens here for Oscar Klefbom just on a personal level, but on the other side of the level is just kind of seeing what happens for the Oilers, not only over the course of this season, but moving forward, whether it be into the off season, next season, the future, whatever it holds for Oscar Klefbom. This is a very, very big hole for the Oilers to fill. Like I mentioned right off the top, yes, Darnell Nurse has been filling that hole and he's been doing well, but at the same rate is no matter who or what you are to the Oilers defense, you will never be Oscar Klefbom. You can't just duplicate what Oscar Klefbom does, even though, frankly, I'm still most nights when Oscar Klefbom's on the ice not exactly sure what exactly it is that everybody is. That's why Oscar Klefbom is so important to the Oilers. I get it, right? He's a penalty killer, power play player, all things to all with people, but at the same rate is you look at some of the other stats and they suggest that he is just pretty much a run-of-the-mill another Oilers defenseman. But again, when you don't have a number one D-man, some guys seem to get put on a little bit higher of a pedestal. Not saying that Klefbom doesn't deserve to be there for what he's done and what he's fought through and everything to get where he is in his NHL career, but at the same rate is now we've got a situation where over the next year, right, say with this tweet and with this quote from Ken Holland, Oscar Klefbom isn't ready to start next season. So now you look at 20-year-old Philip Broberg coming into the NHL. Broberg's a big kid, power play specialist, everything to all people, just like Klefbom, essentially. And he's Swedish. Right there. That's another vote in his column. So Broberg comes in and fills those holes early on. Now you've got Evan Bouchard, who was very impressive in his season debut, like we talked about in the last video earlier this evening. Okay, that's great. Now you've got those two. Those are the future of the blue line. You've got Darnell Nurse, who you're paying a bunch of money. Suddenly, right, is if you get that out of Nurse, what you've gotten through the first 12 games of this season, every season moving forward, and right, you just start seeing the Oilers defense kind of stacking up. You add somebody on the back end after you potentially lose Tyson Barrie and of course lose Adam Larsson at the end of this season. You lose that big cap hit of Chris Russell, even if he stays with the team. It's down to 1.2, but he'll more than likely go to Seattle. So you see how this whole blue line's starting to shape up. You've got William Lagesson, who's starting to look like he's actually taking some huge steps forwards in minor ways, right? Just the penalty kill, good little clears, good effort, recoveries when it's a failed clear, blah, 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 is the succession line on the Oilers defense is starting to happen right in front of our own eyes. So all the while you have this backdrop of Oscar Klefbom not sure what, if anything, is happening there. So this is where I'm saying is, you know what, yeah, right now, undoubtedly, the loss of Oscar Klefbom is huge at the current present moment, right now, right? Because the Oilers defense has always had, at this point, Oscar Klefbom, unless his shoulder was acting up. So now you've got him out for surgery. No real idea if he's coming back or what the timeline would be if he does come back. And it's, if he can play, how long is his rehab going to be? What's that look like at the end of the day? So there you go. You've got a lot of complication to this Oscar Klefbom story. But at the same rate, you know what? That's great. We have no clue what's happening there. And we do right now undoubtedly miss Oscar Klefbom. But the succession plan is starting to happen a lot faster than we might have thought. And all lost in this is Caleb Jones struggling out of the gate. Well, that's great for Caleb Jones, because if he figures out, okay, this is why I'm struggling, and then picks his socks up and get going, well, suddenly right there, bang, right? Now you've got another D-man ad. Don't forget about Ethan Bear, who's now injured, but again, right, a guy who isn't going to be the prettiest defender for maybe a season or two yet, but give him some more time in the NHL, and based on what we've seen, it's going to be good. So right there, no doubt, you've got potentially, out of everything, you've got Broberg, Bouchard, Jones, Bear, Nurse somewhere in there if you want to keep Nurse and Bear together. So Jones on the third pair, Lagesson on the third pair. You've got your 6 defensemen of the future already, right? Right now, as it is, the Oilers have their future decor that we could imagine in place. That's kind of shocking, right? We've developed all these homegrown guys. And here's the other side, is Bouchard, Broberg, Jones, Bear, Nurse, Lagesson, and whoever I'm missing. I know I'm missing one because I only counted 5 on my fingers. Those are all homegrown, raised Oilers draft picks. Straight up. Those are all Oilers draft picks. And that would be a massive get to have a full set of 6D come in and be all Oilers draft picks moving forward. That is development finally happening the right way. And whether you want to thank Peter Chiarelli, Ken Holland for however you want to do it, that's great. But we look at it this way, is the loss for Klefbom is immeasurable right now. 100%, right? Can't deny it. The Oilers defense, based on what we know, would be much better with Oscar Klefbom on the ice at current. But with Oscar Klefbom injured and stuff, probably wouldn't be anywhere near as great as his better years. But at the same rate, is by the time he gets back, whether it be start of next season or midway into next season, if he gets back at all, he may already be relegated to a lesser role. And there's absolutely no guarantee Oscar Klefbom comes back even at this rate. Everything that's been made out with his shoulder issue at 50% of what he was prior to surgery at current moment. Well, look at that. That right there in itself is a huge hit for the Oilers. So, right, bang, you know what? You may never get what you had in Oscar Klefbom back, even if you get Oscar Klefbom back. But at the same rate, the line of succession on the Oilers defense happens next year. It's starting now. The Oilers almost, probably by game 35 of the season, could afford to trade Larson if Bouchard continues to trend the way he has, Lagesson continues to trend the way he has, and Caleb Jones picks up and gets going back to work the way he did at times last season for us. So you see, this is where it gets really troubling for the Oilers, is you are scrambling to figure out what's happening with Oscar Klefbom, and by the time he's ready to come back, you might not even have a realistic place for an Oscar Klefbom anymore. And that's only maybe 7-8 months away. How crazy is that, right? That's the thing, is we have struggled to figure out the defense for however long, and now suddenly the Oilers could be 6, 7, 8 months away from no longer requiring Oscar Klefbom on the blue line, if he is available, if he is even Oscar Klefbom that we had prior to having to sit over the full year. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Tyson. This is Dolany TV. Consider hitting that subscribe button. I think I scrambled up my thoughts just enough for you to keep track of them. And I will catch you a little bit later on, either tonight or tomorrow, as we have a lot more topics to get to tomorrow, I'm sure, as we roll on to Saturday against the Calgary Flames. I am up on out of here.